Now on CoastTV News.
A historic storm. Delaware Electric Co-op shares the numbers, how many lost power in the latest storm, and why it's breaking records. School budget. The Bryan Allen Stevenson School of Excellence makes changes as the state weighs whether it can stay open.
I'm tracking even more rain that's headed our way. I'll give you the latest on the updated forecast.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
3 U.S. embassies in the Middle East are closed, and the State Department is urging Americans to flee. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Christina D. Robertis. That's our top story tonight. The U.S.-Israeli war against Iran continues in the Middle East. The Qatari Defense Ministry reporting tonight that an Iranian ballistic missile hit the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East, but did not cause any casualties. The U.S. Central Command said Tuesday at least 1,700 targets have been struck. And as Sherelle Hubbard reports, Trump administration officials say attacks against Iran will intensify in the coming hours and days.
You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, along with top Trump administration officials, briefed Congress Tuesday on the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. However, some lawmakers are still questioning Operation Epic Fury. Democratic Senator Cory Booker says based on the information he received, he believes there was no imminent threat to the U.S.
We had a classified briefing that left me utterly astonished at the lack of information they provided to justify the hundreds of billions of dollars of cost and the American lives that are being lost.
Nearly 800 people have been killed in recent days in Iran, including more than 180 people who died in U.S.-Israeli strikes on a school, according to Iranian state media. 4 of 6 U.S. service members based in Kuwait who were killed in an Iranian airstrike Sunday have been identified by the Pentagon. Meantime, President Donald Trump praised the progress of the war.
They have no Navy, it's been knocked out. They have no Air Force, it's been knocked out.
The grounds of the U.S. consulate in Dubai were struck by a suspected Iranian drone Tuesday. The resulting fire was quickly extinguished and no one was hurt. The U.S. has closed its embassies in Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and Kuwait. The State Department warning all Americans to leave some countries in the region immediately. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
And new tonight, sources say the FBI fired a dozen agents and staffers who were monitoring threats from Iran days before the U.S. attacked the country. According to sources, FBI Director Kash Patel fired the workers because they previously investigated President Trump's alleged mishandling of documents. Well, you probably already realized that the blizzard we had here last week was historic, but now we have numbers to back that up. According to the Delaware Electric Co-op, 61,000 of their members were without power at the peak of the storm, making it the worst weather event for the DEC since 1994. In fact, according to the DEC, over the past 32 years, quote, nothing comes close to what we experienced last week. Now we're looking live into Salisbury, and our first alert chief meteorologist, Paul Williams, is going to join us with a check on the forecast. Paul, hopefully no more power outages.
Well, right now we still have leftover fog, as well as just a good deal of low-level moisture that's hovering over the area. And we're going to keep a close eye on fog because actually we have a specialized map we're going to talk about a little bit later in the newscast where we have dense fog over the next few days in a row. So this is a theme that's going to be reoccurring throughout the week. But we are going to see a couple of sprinkles still hovering around Ocean City right around the 2 o'clock hour in the early morning hours. We're clear for right now. We had dense fog advisory throughout inland areas, but it's still active as far as in and around the coastal region. So we have dense fog concerns there for our Edgewater Acres as well as Ocean View. We got a couple of sprinkles just over the Rehoboth Beach area, and we have additional scattered showers coming in from the west, so we're not quite done yet. As far as tonight is concerned, listen, we're going to see dense fog continue with the sprinkles lasting until about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll stay in the 40s. But the rain will come to an end, but the fog is going to stick around. We have more gloomy gray days ahead. More on that coming up in a moment.
Thank you, Paul. New tonight, the Bryan Allen Stevenson School of Excellence held a board meeting this evening and approved some changes to its budget. Board members shifted money between spending categories, so they cut contracted services and then added some more money for supplies, but overall spending will stay the same. Board members also said tonight that the school is not in financial trouble. That's despite a state report suggesting otherwise. All of this comes as the school remains under formal review by the Charter School Accountability Committee, with a decision about its charter renewal expected on March 19th. Also, after a year-long review, Sussex County Administrator Todd Lawson today laid out 6 new rules that could change what and how developers build here in Sussex County. As Brandon Ferguson reports, some of those ideas include more open space and ways to make the county's rental program more affordable.
Jill Hicks was a member of the Land Use Reform Working Group. Hicks had a direct hand in putting 6 recommendations in front of County Council.
I think we're off to a really good start.
These were the 6 future ordinances that will be introduced shortly. The Sussex County Rental Program, which provides incentives for workforce and affordable housing, will be revamped to get more builders to take part. Another idea, subdivisions in rural areas would require at least 50% open space, while subdivisions in what are defined as growth areas need to have 30% open space. The basic framework was introduced today, with concrete action to come next week.
I really look forward to seeing what those ordinances look like in writing, and I'm also counting on all the stakeholders to have input when it comes to those hearings.
Other ordinances include clarifying what a subdivision is and defining more types of housing in county code, so there are easier opportunities to build homes like duplexes and triplexes. There will also be stricter protections for forests. 6 new ordinances coming out of 20 recommendations.
I was a little disappointed that we didn't cover making sure that the infrastructure was adequate for projects going forward, but I'm sure that will come up in these discussions going forward.
Each ordinance will have to go through Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission and County Council before becoming law.
Brandon Ferguson reporting there. And another thing to note, county council members were asking today whether new rules for a rental program would actually work and if changing subdivision rules could lead to lawsuits from projects that are already under construction. Councilmember Jane Grunebaum suggested an interim rule that would decide which standards apply based on how far along a project is. Drivers in Milton kept the police department busy in the month of January. On Monday, the town released a breakdown of the number of speeding offenses. And according to those documents, the number of speeders in January was 64. In December, it was 36. CoastTV spoke with some neighbors in town about the safety of Milton roads.
I'll speed up to go with the flow of traffic, but if there's nobody on the road in front of me and it's just one impatient person behind me, sometimes I'll just let them pass me, just for the safety of the children in my car.
The speed slows up at every place they're building new houses. They got to slow people down around them. New houses, bad roads, slower people.
Yeah, some other people told us today that they're worried speeding will only get worse as it gets warmer. A Worcester County short-term rental vote brought a packed room Tuesday morning. Commissioners considering a change tied to parking requirements for some rental properties. Commissioners voted 6-1 to push back the effective date of the county's 3 parking space requirement for some short-term rentals. Supporters arguing some homeowners bought properties and made investments believing they could rent them out because that parking rule had not been enforced.
It doesn't mean any of us are advocates or for or against short-term rentals. It was something that was in the Department of Planning and Zoning that was not enforced, and we had to make it right.
And commissioners also said that move was about fixing an administrative problem. In Wicomico County, one piece of Salisbury's history is back into the hands of the city. After more than 20 years, the city owns the historic City Hall building again, with a lot of its original character defining elements still intact there. It was built in 1896, and it has been a city hall, a fire station, an art museum, and more.
ended up leasing spaces from third parties. This is going to save us about $100,000 a year in operating costs through lease payments and repairs and put us in this location. So that'll really be a benefit to the city long term over time.
And the mayor says the city is hoping to move its neighborhood services department as well as the IT group within the next few months. Now to Kent County, a nearly 10-acre vacant lot along Route 13 in Dover could soon see some new life. Plans for the proposed DuPont Plaza Shopping Center are moving forward after the city's planning commission approved the project's master plan in January. The first phase would include a Tractor Supply as the anchor tenant, along with 3 additional retail buildings. Business leaders say the development would mark the largest commercial expansion the corridor has seen in years.
It's the only empty space along Highway 13 that's remaining right here through the corridor. And so it would be good for it to finally have something on there that would be purposeful and useful to the residents that are coming in.
So what's next? The developers preparing to submit administrative site plans for each phase as that project continues to move forward. And we are just getting started tonight. More news ahead, like stopping bird flu before it spreads. A look at Wicomico County scientists and how they're speeding up testing. And also, this empty boardwalk will soon be filled with thousands of music lovers during the Oceans Calling Music Festival. We'll tell you what bands are coming to Ocean City this year. And coming up, Paul Williams is in our CoastTV First Alert Weather Center. He's got a look at your full forecast right after this.
Well, we had a bit of drizzle for today, light rain, not even a measurable amount of rain, but enough to to annoy you enough to make it just kind of wet and moist throughout the day. That same drizzle, dense drizzle type of pattern is what we're expecting for the next few days. But the caveat to that is, at least it's going to be much warmer over the next few days. And you know what? I'll trade drizzle, cloudy, and warm over blizzard any day of the week. But that's just me. In Lewis right now, we're at 46 degrees. And we're going to drop to about 44, 45 for the rest of the evening. But also keep in mind that we're going to still have a little bit of dense drizzle to light rain continue to resurrect itself throughout the day because of the general flow that's happening right now. It's going directly from the west, moving towards the east. Scattered showers a little more dense to the north. But we also have a great deal of fog. In fact, dense fog advisory in effect for Slaughter Beach, Broadkill Beach, Oyster Rocks, as well as Lewis, down towards Rehoboth, Indian Beach, all the way down to Ocean View, Bay View Park, and Fenwick Island. Visibility down to 0 or less than that. Long Neck, Millville also included in that, by the way. Now here's a wider view of what's happening. So we still have a streaming in of additional scattered showers. Now we're still talking sprinkles for the most part, but it's just going to keep things just moist, period. So tonight we deal with the drizzle. That's pretty much it. Then for tomorrow, still mild. Morning shower, yeah, likely to occur. Not a big deal, but I mean, even as you go into, let's say, late tonight, going to tomorrow, we can see hit or miss spotty showers popping through. Milton by 6 o'clock in the morning, Denton, and along Highway 13. And then we have another wave that's a little bit heavier, not heavy enough to freak out about, but enough to keep the windshield wipers going just a little bit, particularly by Wednesday afternoon, evening. Now, the big trend that we're seeing over the next few days is that we're going to progressively get warmer. We're 12 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago. That's going to be the big deal for us, and that will continue to be the deal for us. Now, along the coast, we're looking at the winds pushing out of the west. So that same flow that's happening now, that will continue. We'll have cloudy skies. Where it's not cloudy, we'll have a peak of sunshine briefly, and that'll be accompanied with at least some light rain occasionally. So here's how things stack up for Wednesday. Very cloudy. Thursday, starting off in the 40s, and we end up in the 50s again. Then the winds will be changing coming off of the water. So that's additional moisture that'll pull through. So we're looking at a decent chance of a shower really for the next 4 to 5 days. But we're talking about brief in and out, and that's it. Thursday, we see those scattered showers sliding through going into Friday, and we just stay cloudy till it opens up for us on Saturday, and then temperatures will climb in big time. Now, the last thing is look at this fog. For Wednesday, we're looking at dense fog along the beaches. Wednesday evening, it overtakes everything going into Thursday morning. Fog drops down to, we're going to have dense fog advisories for the next day, even going to Thursday, and you'll notice we're going into Friday, still with the dense fog. Last thing before we come to an end, spring forward this weekend. Reset your clocks. We're getting ready for that spring-like weather. So remember, we're going to lose an hour of sleep this weekend. Finally, here's a look at your 7-day forecast.
Thank you again, Paul. Well, if you're planning on going to the Oceans Calling Music Festival in Ocean City this year, we got an idea of who's going to be playing there. Gwen Stefani, the Dave Matthews Band, Hootie and the Blowfish. So exciting. It's starting September 25th. Thousands of music lovers will be enjoying Oceans Calling. And as Kevin Zappé reports, business owners are also excited.
The wait is finally over.
There's some names in here that my nieces like.
The Oceans Calling 2026 lineup is out, and people in Ocean City are excited for the wave of bands crashing into town.
Hey, it's a nice lineup. It's a good lineup.
The Goo Goo Dolls, that's really good.
Matchbox 20.
Looks like it will be a lot of fun.
The lineup is fantastic this year.
Just like last year, Oceans Calling will be a 3-day event, and in 2026 it'll go from September 25th through the 27th.
It's really been a godsend for our business as far as shoulder season business.
Colin Topping is the general manager for Pickles Pub in Ocean City and says music festivals like this bring in thousands of visitors they wouldn't normally have. And he believes this year will be no different after taking a look at the lineup.
Regardless of your opinions of what you have there, it's going to sell out regardless, and it's going to be a really good weekend.
Jim Golden has gone to Oceans Calling before.
I go right out there by boat.
And plans to go again this year, but this time on land with the rest of the crowd.
That was Kevin Zappé reporting. Now, if you want to be one of the first to grab tickets for Oceans Calling, pre-sale tickets go on sale Thursday at 10 a.m. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We're asking, who are you most excited to see perform? Let's look at the results here. 14% say the Dave Matthews Band. Who's the winner? 29% say Hootie and the Blowfish. My choice would be Gwen Stefani. Thank you to everyone who voted, and you can still vote. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Coming up next on Coast TV News, millions of Americans are seeing larger tax refunds this year. Find out what's driving that boost and how you can make the most of it. But first, you might have to save that tax refund for gas. Just how much drivers are paying after a sudden spike. The town of Georgetown is seeking applicants for one open seat on its planning commission with a 3-year term expiring May 2029. Applicants must be at least 21 years old, a U.S. citizen and a Delaware citizen, and live in Georgetown with an interest in urban and rural planning. The commission oversees zoning, land use, and development. It meets the third Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m. Drivers are seeing the biggest one-day jump in gas prices since Hurricane Katrina in 2005. That's according to AAA. The national average at 11 cents on Tuesday. The average price of gas is now $3.11 a gallon. The spike follows U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a key global oil route. Iran has also launched retaliatory attacks on targeting oil infrastructure in several oil-rich U.S. allies in the region. Well, tax filing season is underway. Although it may be a hassle to file your federal income tax return, you are more likely to see a bigger refund this year. This year, your refund may be larger for a couple of reasons, and Ivan Rodriguez explains why and how people can take advantage of that extra cash.
There's two main reasons why Americans might receive a larger tax refund this year. First, Congress made a number of new and expanded tax breaks effective for tax year 2025. Also, most people did not adjust the tax withholding on their paychecks last year to account for the changes in their tax breaks.
Some people are getting larger child tax credits, lower tax brackets were extended. So for most people, there should be a little bit more in that tax refund this year.
Through the week ending February 20th, just about 29 million people had received 2025 federal tax refunds, averaging $3,800, according to the IRS. That's more than 10% higher than the same period last year.
This money can make a big difference in your overall financial well-being.
Ted Rossman with Bankrate says there are a few things to consider in terms of where to put your money to best use.
Credit card debt payoff should be a priority because the interest rates are so high. The average credit card debt load is around $6,700 according to TransUnion. If you make minimum payments towards that average amount at the average interest rate, you're in debt for close to 20 years.
Other areas to look at include boosting your emergency savings, saving for a home purchase, and investing. although Rossman suggests not investing until you've checked off a few other boxes.
Historically, stocks have returned an annual average of about 10%. So your money's going to be doubling roughly every 7 years when that happens. So if you put that tax refund in today, that $3,800 could be around $10,000.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Coming up in sports tonight, Wicomico girls basketball had a chance to advance to the regional finals, but Queen Anne's County stood in the way. DSN will tell you who is moving on. And coming up, a look at new research that shows people using weight loss drugs might be putting their bones at risk.
And we're expecting dense fog to continue for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in Cambridge and Crisfield, with a good chance of scattered showers for Wednesday, specifically in Cambridge.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
The University of Delaware will be hosting Dining with Diabetes classes. The university says the program is designed for people with diabetes or their family members. The 5-class series includes diabetes education, cooking demonstrations, and tasting of healthy foods. And the university says after each lesson, participants will take home recipes and knowledge about how to manage diabetes in their daily lives. Those classes begin Wednesday, March 4th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Extension office in Georgetown. Well, new research shows the use of GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy could increase the chances of developing osteoporosis and gout. This, according to research presented Monday. A study of adults diagnosed with obesity and type 2 diabetes indicates GLP-1 users have a 30% increased risk of osteoporosis and a 12% increase of gout. Experts say that could be due to rapid weight loss, a decrease in the intake of nutrients, or other factors. A meeting organized by the World Health Organization to review the measles outbreak in the U.S. has been delayed by several months. The special meeting was slated to take place April 13th, will now happen during an annual meeting in November. Its purpose is to look at data that will help determine if measles should still be considered eliminated in the U.S. The disease has held that status since the year 2000. Good news here, breast cancer survival continues to improve in the U.S. A new report from Lancet found that death rates have fallen by more than 40%. This study from 1990 to 2023 showed the rate of new diagnosis dropping by nearly 30%. Advanced screening and early treatments have made breast cancer less deadly here in the U.S. Testing in Wicomico County is speeding up the state's response to bird flu outbreaks. At this lab on Nanticoke Road, scientists with the Department of Agriculture take samples, and through a series of extensive and complicated tests, they are able to detect whether a bird or an entire flock is infected. This testing helps the state prevent diseases from spreading from farm to farm.
We're always doing pre-harvest surveillance testing to make sure any bird that has avian influenza doesn't enter the food supply, so that everybody can be sure that the food supply is safe.
Now, so far this year, there have been 4 cases of bird flu on Maryland's eastern shore. Health officials say the risk of transmission between sick birds and people is low. Moving to sports now, the Maryland basketball state playoffs roll on. DSN's Tyler Aiken at Wicomico High School with highlights from a close second-round matchup.
The last time Wicomico and Queen Anne's County girls basketball played each other, it was in the Bayside title game last year, and the Lions dominated, won by 22 points. But what would happen tonight with a spot in the regional finals on the line? Let's find out. Wi-High scored the first points of the game, and not just a bucket or two. The Tribe went up 11-0 and led 11-2 after one quarter. But then the Lions went on a run and pulled within a few points. That's when Wicomico turned to its star senior, Selah Foreman. She entered the game just 7 points away from 2,000 in her career. And on the last play of the first half,
it means a lot. I've been working hard for this moment, and since I was a little girl, so to keep working on my game, and it feels good to achieve my goal.
the game was far from over, though. Wi-High led by 7 at the break, but that lead shrunk, largely because Foreman left the game with calf cramps. QAC actually took the lead in the fourth quarter, but Y-High head man Willie Downing knew that his leading scorer would come back in if she could.
Her big thing was she did not want to get to 2,000 points and we lose. She wants it all to be this team to keep going as far as they can go. And she did come back in. Foreman scored the go-ahead bucket, then a little more insurance for the Tribe. Wicomico held on to win 50-41. So next up for Y-High is a battle with Kent Island for the regional championship. And remember, last year the Tribe fell to the Buccaneers in the regional semifinals. So it's a chance for Y-High to get some revenge and a chance for Y-High to get to the state quarterfinals. Reporting from Wicomico High School, I'm Tyler Aiken, DSN.
Umbrella giveaway winner is Larry Harrison of Ocean View. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. And you keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mandalis, and Federico, 443-880-9100. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. We're going to go to 52, which is above the norm for this time of the year, and then we'll jump 10 more degrees, bounce down a little bit on Friday. Then we go into the 60s, into the 70s, like Superman, up, up, and away.
Wow, 75 on there. That's great. Thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more news and local weather if you download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show is up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.